Hi guys, welcome to my space. Welcome back. Happy New Year. This week I am going to talk about New Year reflection. As I know we usually like to reflect when the year is over, I like to reflect towards the beginning. I want to talk about today, highlighting some of the things I loved about 2023 and how my reflection of the year towards the end of 2023 helped me recognize the things that I want to pursue in 2024 and some of the things that I would like to achieve. So first things first, recently on my Instagram, I asked my friends to submit questions they've always wanted to ask me or some things that they would like to know more about me. I will be sharing the answers to those questions. I'm excited to be able to share the little bit that I know.
First and foremost, congratulations for surviving the first week of 2024. I'm so happy you're here with me today. I'm going to discuss my own New Year's reflection and also some of the things that I'm going to be working on this year. I'll be honest, 2023 was a rubbish year for me. Like, I'm not even kidding. I started off with confidence. I was like, 2023 is my year. I'm going to get ABCD done, knock it out of the park. Midway into 2023, life was like psych, and I found myself struggling. And when I'm struggling, I'm struggling. It was really hard. I felt like I was just spiraling mentally and emotionally. Outwardly, everyone thought I was okay. People thought I was fine, but I wasn't. I remember there was this one time, this was towards the end of the year, I had a terrifying panic attack. It was like I was gonna die. And I remember that morning, I just sat down in the bathroom and I was thinking, I'm gonna die. Like, I legit thought I was gonna die. I think it was mainly because I kept thinking, this doesn't feel good. Like, this doesn't feel right. And my whole body, my whole essence, I just felt like I was losing. And I remember I was trying to call a friend. I couldn't reach my phone. I had to crawl all the way to my bed to get my phone and tried calling a friend. I was just like, I can't do this. That was one of the scariest moments of my life because it mirrored something similar that I had experienced in 2022 around the same time. That's when I knew that PTSD is a real thing. And that's when I knew that, yes, the body definitely keeps the score. If you don't know what I'm referring to, it's the wonderful book with the same name that talks about how the trauma that we experience or the things that we experience that are bad or that are horrible or traumatic, those things are then embedded into our psyche, into our body. Like, our body can literally change and our brain cells can change, like all of these things. Anyway, I digress. What I wanted to say is it was that kind of a year, rough in the sense that I was okay outwardly, but inside I was just struggling. I decided towards the end of the year, you know what? I'm going to take matters into my own hands and I'm going to focus on getting better. And by getting better, I mean focusing on me, not in a selfish way, but me as in I need to take care of myself. I need to listen to my body. I need to listen to my mind. I need to tell my mind and myself how capable I am. And I spoke about this in my first video that I shared with you guys about how something that I'm trying to learn in this new year is just being intentional, but also being intentional about developing self-compassion for myself. Because I think sometimes, especially for me, I've realized through the therapy sessions I've had that I struggle to have self-compassion, and that obviously stems from perfectionism. So for this year, I was like, no inhibitions. I'm just going to walk in with grace, with love, with clarity, and with the mindset of abundance. That is my word for 2024, abundance. The reason why I chose this word and not like a list of resolutions, I realized that when I focus on the one thing, I'm able to accomplish much more than when I have like a list of all these things I need to do. And that's coming from me being a perfectionist. I always notice that when I tell myself I want to do this, that, and the other, I get overwhelmed, I get burned out, I get stressed, I get depressed. It becomes a whole thing. And so for this year, I was like, you know what, Tendai, give yourself one word, abundance. Focus on that one word and then run with it. Run with it, because everything else will flow because you are focusing on that one thing. Of course, there's more to it than just that. I have my vision board going right now. I'm not done with it, but for the last 7 days, I can already see a shift in myself. I've already received abundance. I'm extremely grateful. Here's the thing. I don't want you to believe that I'm living in the clouds, I'm not being realistic, or I'm just trying to sell myself dreams. Because I think sometimes we get to think too much and be like, oh my gosh, I'm in my head. So I decided last year, before the year was over, to have a coach, professional career coach. And I've never done this in my life. I was very fortunate to be able to meet with a wonderful Black woman, and she helped me to kind of figure out all these things I want to do and make it, filled with clarity, and then zone into those things. And she actually recommended me to read the book, The One Thing. It helped me and be like my guiding light. I just am so ready to be this version of me that probably has always existed, but I've never really paid attention. I've never really given it enough thought to think, hey, maybe I can actually do this. Because we all have that one thing that sets us apart from everybody else. We all have it. Some of us know it right off the bat when we're young. Some of us, it takes us longer. This past week, I shared a video on my TikTok about one of the episodes I was listening to from the wonderful Shetty. He was talking about how every year we always set resolutions for ourselves. But he was like, for this year, another thing we can try that is not so tasking is a gratitude jar. So Jay Shetty, in his episode, which I will definitely link below, he's like, for every week of the year, I want you to write 1 or 2 things that you are grateful for, or something that has happened to you that made you happy. So for me, I wrote these 3 things that happened to me at the beginning of the year.
Hey guys, I just wanted to do a voiceover that you can go check out Jay Shetty's podcast on this episode. And if you want, you can do vision board. I've already started doing that. And now I'll be answering the questions from the Q&A. First question I'm going to answer is from my friend who lives in the UK. Hi, girl. I got so excited when I got this question because it's something that I've always been asked by a lot of people. And it says, what do you think is the best lesson you've learned from the cultures you've experienced? And I love this question because it helps me talk about one of the things that I am passionate about, or one of the topics I have been doing so much research on. So one of the things that I believe is the best lesson I have learned from living in 5 countries and experiencing all the cultures that are within those particular countries, the cities I was in, you have to be open-minded. And when I say open-minded, I mean you have to walk into those places knowing that this is not about you. What do I mean by that? I mean that when you are interacting with people, when you are getting to know either the language or you're getting to know people in general and how that society functions, you have to have an open mind, have to be able to recognize that you are there to learn, you are there to observe, and you're not there to change anything in terms of trying to rewrite whatever they already have as part of their culture. I'll give you an example. When I first went to England, there were a few things that I wasn't aware of. about British culture. In the northeast of England, it's completely different from being in the south part of England. I had to learn that people value time, as in keeping appointments, something so minuscule to some of us in other countries. Because we have African time. We show up when we show up. We do not show up on time. It is embarrassing. It is how it is where I come from. In the UK, people are very stickler about their time. People have things to do, and so therefore you need to be aware that I am in this place and I need to respect that. And that goes to other countries like Japan. I'm sure you've all heard how they have their own cultures there that they require people who visit to also adhere to, or at least be aware of. That goes for Dubai. So many things that we have to learn in terms of other people's culture, but from an observatory stance and not as trying to change or trying to question why. This reminds me of the importance of cultural competency, which is something that I am extremely passionate about, and something that I have recognized in myself that I am quite capable in, is understanding that you are there to learn and you need to immerse yourself in the culture for you to learn it, but not immerse to change, immerse to learn and to elevate your own understanding of that particular culture. So what does cultural competency mean? It means that you are someone who is aware of one's culture, who is able to interact within that culture. You're someone who understands the dynamics of the different types of communication within that culture. It doesn't take you searching on Google to understand how to be culturally competent. It takes a long time. I'm still having to learn how to be culturally competent. And so my biggest lesson would be, if you are trying to immerse yourself in any culture, be open-minded. Don't try and change what is in that culture. Try and understand and learn how to communicate effectively, interpersonally, and just nonverbal cues. You have to be able to really understand what that culture is giving you. You are not there to be the superior, but you are there to genuinely learn and understand. But there's more on that, obviously. I just wanted to share that was one of my biggest lessons. And I really like that question, so thank you. Next question, my favorite. All of them are my favorite, but I mean my favorite in terms of the topic that was addressed in the question. My friend who's in the US asked me, what brings you pure joy? I love this question because it's multifaceted. There's so many ways that we experience joy. For me, what brings me pure joy is when I can see the humanity in people. What I mean by that is when people realize that we are a community. We are all part of this bigger thing that is not just the little things that we gripe about. For me personally, I'm going to share not an experience, but something that I've been working on, and that is understanding my role in society and how I can contribute, but not just society as a whole, but also at a micro level in the relationships I have, or the relationships I want to nurture, in the way I communicate with people. Am I being empathetic? Am I being someone who is walking in to learn? Am I listening to understand and not to respond? And so I decided to meet with a professional coach, wonderful woman. She was helping me understand, some of the things that make us who we are. And she asked me to give her a little background of where I'm from. I told her, she was like, okay, Tendai, what you need to understand is, if you want to be in tune with who you are, before you can know what you can do in the world, you need to look back in the past on the simple things that brought you joy. And I was like, it sounds familiar, because I see all over social media right now, everybody is talking about, going back to that inner child that never got to experience some of the things that you now are in a position as an adult to experience. And for some people, it could be because of traumatic things that they experienced, and that inner child is in desperate need of healing. So her call to action was, I want you to go back and think of the things that you enjoyed when you were younger, that you can do now. The reason why she suggested that was because I've just been feeling really stagnant in my field of expertise, strategic communication. I want to be able to make an impact and just bring out good in people around me, in organizations. And she was like, I want you to go back in time, think about a few things. Journaling was one. I used to be a serial journaler. That's even a word. And so I decided to get back to journaling, which I've been doing consistently. And I told her that there's this particular meal from back home that I really love that my mom would always make for me. And she was like, okay, you can make that. Thank goodness I'm in Canada because they have so many ingredients. We love an immigrant nation. So anyways, I went and bought some stuff from home at this huge African supermarket, and I just went home, started cooking this meal. What brought me joy in that experience was the fact that I remembered exactly how to cook the meal. I didn't forget. It all came back to me, as people say, it's like riding a bicycle. Yes, I was in the kitchen cooking, enjoying doing this. In my excitement, I was like, I need to tell my aunt. I sent her a message and I was like, Auntie, this is what I'm making. And I'm so happy that I get to do this. She was so happy for me. And that moment brought me pure joy, just talking to her, but also her telling me that she's proud of me, that I have decided to get back to who I am. Because let me tell you something, when you have been in so many different countries and around so many different cultures that are rich in their own right, you get so immersed in it that you sort of drift away, like the essence of you drifts away. Not who you are as an individual, but some of the practices that you held true when you were back in your home country. For me, I was in South Africa, I was in England, I was in America, and now I'm in Canada. You forget over the years, and all those places are not as able to provide those comforts from home. And also things are expensive, so even Amazon is not going to help. So to be able to make that for myself and share with my aunt, that brought me pure joy. We talked about it after. She's like, if you have other recipes you want to learn, let me know and I can help you. And obviously I got more stuff, and she sent me a voice message, how to do it properly, because I couldn't remember the specific ingredients and how to prepare it. It came out great. And I told one of my friends back in South Africa that I had done this, and it just helped me feel at home. Something that my professional coach mentioned that I also really appreciated was, she said that, the key to who you are or understanding who you are is always in your past. You are taking things from your past self that are the things that made you resilient, the things that made you grounded, the things that remind you of the qualities that you have. And that is what can help you look to the future and figure out what you want to do or what avenue you want to take. Thanks so much for this question. It was my favorite. I'm going to stop talking about that because I know I will get emotional, because this experience of just cooking food from home and eating it just brought back so many memories, and I'm so grateful that I get to do that now, and that I get to tap into that when I need a dose of inspiration or just some comfort and contentment, if that makes sense. This question is exciting. I got it from my friend who is also in the US. He said, what is the best movie you've watched for the first time last year? Movies, I feel and know that I am a cinephile. I love movies because it's something my mom got me into when I was younger. Growing up, my mom had this thing where she would have us go to the video store to rent movies back in the day when we could rent movies in an actual store. Shout out to Blockbuster. R.I.P. We would pick a movie Friday night and we would watch movies. I loved it. And so I grew up being very much so invested in movies, understanding all the things that come with cinematography and all of that. So what is the best movie I watched for the first time last year? It'll have to be Coda. That movie was beautiful, so beautiful. And I don't want to talk more about it because it'll literally make me cry. I love that movie. That's a good movie, and I don't think I can watch it again because of the emotions that are just gonna come out of me, because of how beautiful it is, how beautiful the story is. It is on Apple TV. Representation that is at the center of that movie is just done beautifully and with so much respect and attention. So I love that. I have other movies that I continue to watch that I love. I would have to say my go-to movie when I just need a shot of motivation or momentum, a call to action, is The Count of Monte Cristo. I love that movie. I will not share the reasons why I love that movie besides the obvious one, but one day, if anyone is interested, I'll delve into the reasons why me as a Scorpio love The Count of Monte Cristo. Last question is from my friend, also in the US. I love this question because even when I read it after she sent it to me, I was like, you did not just do that. Because it is going to bring out the me, if that even makes sense. But her question, not even question, but like a topic, or just something to share from my point of view. What are the lessons I've learned in my 30s? The 30s. I'm gonna need water for ASMR. I'm parched. Okay, so I'm diving straight in. Number one, remember and know that no one's coming. What I mean by that is you have to know how to stand in your power because no one is coming. You see those Disney princesses who have all the princes coming to save them? Yeah, that is not real life. I have learned that I have to be the one to get myself out of any kind of situation. And that doesn't mean that I'm not asking for help. It's me telling myself that I need to not rely on people before I know how to solve something. I have to first try and solve this before I can call whoever to assist me. Just always know no one's coming, whether it is your business or relationship. Like, you have to be the one to want the change and want to do something about it. So you have to always remember that no one's coming to say, hey, do this. You have to be conscientious and proactive in getting stuff done. Number two, you're stronger than you think. Okay, I say that as someone who struggles with depression, anxiety, PTSD, you name it, I got it. Something I have realized for myself with my own life experiences is I am much stronger than I think I am. And now that I've been in a moment of reflecting, as in journaling, putting my thoughts and words on a piece of paper and reading them, I've realized that I have overcome so many things that I now understand how strong I am. But also with strength comes the recognition of weakness. And sometimes when you are feeling like you are in your weakness era, you know, for lack of a better way to explain it, you're still strong because you're choosing vulnerability in that moment. You're choosing to understand what these emotions you're having feel like. And even though you think it's failure, it's not. You're still stronger than you think. That's something in my 30s I have learned. Number three, this is important, okay? Mind your business. Mind your six. Mind your business, okay? When I say mind your business, I mean look at what you are doing, saying, thinking. Mind your business. Because we have reached the age in society where we want to be in everyone's business. And that's not because we're actively seeking it. It's just the lifestyle that we now have. Technology where we can literally be in people's homes, those that choose to show us everything that happens every single day. We're on people's feeds, timelines, grids, everything, right? Or at least what people are choosing to show us. you can feel like you have a say in that person's life, but no, you don't. You need to mind your business. I cannot reiterate this enough, because when you start minding your business, guess what? You're going to recognize that there's so much that you need to work on, so much that you can do instead of focusing on so-and-so. There's so much that you also are capable of achieving if you stop looking at what so-and-so is doing. But it's not just from a I want to be nosy standpoint, as in, mind your business for that. It is, you've got other things to contribute to the world. You've got other things that you can do, create, produce. Why don't you focus on that instead of focusing on, oh, I can never be like so-and-so. Oh, I can never do this. Oh, look at that. No. And I've struggled with this for a very long time. And I am learning to just be like, you know what? I am Tendai. I am brilliant. I am amazing. I am the bees to the knees, honey. Okay. I am going to mind my business and I'm going to mind my six. That's all I know how to do, because that is my lane. That is what I can control. That is what I can do for myself, for my sanity in this digital age. That is something in my 30s I've learned. Mind your business. And while you're at it, drink some water, okay? Stay hydrated while you're minding your business, because your skin will too look like this. I'm enjoying these questions. Last thing that I want to share that I've learned in my 30s. Of course, I have so much that I've learned in my 30s. I'll end with this last thing. Don't let time pass you without recognizing how important your voice is. When I say don't let time pass by, I mean that you should take every opportunity that presents itself for you to share what you know to be true. And that can be anything that you have experienced. And these are things that are going to make an impact, things that are going to be an addition to other wonderful, good, edifying things that we have, around us in our world. So it's not just like dumb things, okay? It's something that is going to add to an already flowing river of conversation. Because I think your individual voice definitely matters. And your individual voice is something that no one can mimic. It's not something that anyone can take. My point is, don't let something pass you by without you adding your 2 cents. And it doesn't have to be you sharing it online. It can be you talking with a friend, like something that is gonna evoke conversation. Share it. Share it, because someone somewhere out there needs to hear your point of view, and they need to hear it because it will resonate with them because of who you are or what you believe in. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. And you can learn that young, doesn't have to be in your 30s. I guess for me, when you're in your 30s, you're in a more position where you're like, I don't really care what people think about me. I don't care what people say, but I have lived enough life to know that this is what I know, right? Because with experience comes understanding, and therefore you have the knowledge to help other people. My mom used to always say, experience is your best teacher. Most of my friends are younger than me, and they have so many things that they teach me, but at the end of the day, I'm also coming in with experiences that I can be a resource. I can be there for them. This was really fun. I want to say thank you for bringing these questions to me.